My wife insisted on carrying a baby for her sister. She kept saying, "It's my body, my decision." I told her it would tear our marriage apart. Now she's pleading with me, but I'm finished. Not my baby, not my problem. Sup, Reddit? My wife decided to carry her sister's baby without asking me first. When I objected, she hit me with my body, my choice, and did it anyway. Fast forward 9 months. She's out of money. Her sister bilayed on her, and now she's begging me to come back. This is how a 6-year marriage got completely blown apart by one terrible decision she assumed I'd just go along with. I'm 32, male, working as an operations manager for a mid-sized logistics company in Michigan. Nothing glamorous, but it's steady pay with good benefits. Been with the same company for 8 years. Started on the warehouse floor loading trucks before sunrise. The work wasn't exciting, mostly coordinating shipments, vendor issues, and fixing disasters when deliveries went wrong. But it covered the bills and let me take care of my family. I began at $14 an hour and eventually worked up to about $75K a year. Not wealthy, but stable. My warehouse years taught me a lot. Double-check everything, communicate clearly, own your mistakes. If you screwed up a load, trucks sat idle and the company bled money. Those lessons stayed with me as I moved into management. My boss promoted me because I showed up, solved problems, and didn't create new ones. I married Rachel, 30, female, 6 years ago after 2 years of dating. We had 3 kids, Emma, age 5, and our twin boys, Jack and Lucas, who just turned 3. Life felt good, at least from my perspective. We lived in a normal suburban home with a mortgage we could afford, drove fully paid-off cars, and had a routine that worked. Nothing fancy, just steady family life. The house was a 3-bed ranch from the 80s. Needed work when we bought it 5 years ago, outdated kitchen, old carpet, a bathroom straight out of a 70s show, but it was ours. I spent weekends fixing it up over time. Replaced the carpet with laminate floors, updated the bathroom with new tile, built a backyard deck where we grilled in the summer. It felt like a home. Rachel worked part-time as a dental hygienist at a clinic close by. 3 days a week, flexible hours. She made maybe $25K yearly, helped with groceries and smaller bills, while I handled the mortgage, insurance, and most major expenses. We shared chores fairly evenly. I did the yard and car stuff. She handled groceries and planning meals. Weekends were all about kids, Emma's soccer practice, chasing the twins around parks, and trying to keep 3 little kids from turning the house into chaos. Emma's soccer practices were honestly the highlight of my week. Watching her run around the field, cheering with other parents, grabbing ice cream after simple moments that made everything worth it. The twins were still too young for sports, so they just raced around the playground while I kept one eye on them and one eye on Emma's game. My best friend Tyler, known him since college, worked in it and had zero filter. He came over most Fridays, helped me grill, and hung out while the kids played. He's the kind of guy who brings tools when you mention a project. When I built the deck, he spent 3 weekends helping without me even asking. His ex-fiancée had drained their joint savings and ran off with a guy she met online, so he learned the hard way about protecting yourself. That gave him the kind of perspective I ended up needing later. Everything went off the rails last spring when Rachel's twin sister, Nicole, dropped her bombshell. She and her husband, Brandon, had been trying for kids for years, multiple IVF attempts. Thousands spent, no success. Doctors said Nicole's uterus had too much scar tissue to carry a pregnancy, though her eggs were still viable. Surrogacy was the next step, and that's when Rachel decided she'd do it. Not talked about it. Not asked me. Decided. Past tense. Already committed before I even knew. One Thursday evening in March, I came home from a brutal day. A shipment got sent to the wrong state because someone flipped 2 digits in a zip code. The customer was livid. My boss was on my back, and I spent hours coordinating emergency rerouting that cost us a ridiculous amount in freight fees. I walked in tired, grabbed leftover meatloaf from the fridge, and sat next to Rachel on the couch. The kids were already fed, watching cartoons. "How was your day?" she asked without really looking up from her phone. "Long. Had to reroute an entire truckload because of one typo. Clients threatening to pull their account," I said, eating cold meatloaf straight from the plate. "How about you?" I asked. She finally set her phone aside, wearing this strange mix of nerves and stubbornness. The same expression she'd had when she told me she bought a $400 purse without mentioning it first. Actually, "There's something I need to tell you." My stomach tightened. That phrase never leads anywhere good. Last time she said it, it was to announce she'd volunteered us to host Thanksgiving for both families without asking Nicole, and Brandon want me to be their surrogate. She blurted, like she was ripping off a Band-Aid. And I already told them yes. I stopped chewing and put my fork down. You agreed to carry another man's child. It's their embryo, Brandon's genetics, Nicole's egg. I'm just the carrier, she said quickly. And before you blow up, I've already started the medical screenings. Had my first appointment last week. I needed a moment to process. Already started? When exactly were you planning to have a conversation with me about this? She folded her arms. I'm talking to you now. No. You're informing me. That's not the same thing. I set my plate on the coffee table, appetite gone. Rachel, this isn't a new haircut or a pair of shoes. This is 9 months of pregnancy that affects our entire household. It's my body, Noah. My decision. Nicole is my twin sister. She spent years breaking down over infertility. I can help her. I can give her the one thing she wants more than anything. Do you hear how insane that sounds? I asked. Her eyes snapped with anger. It's not insane. It's compassion, something you clearly struggle with. That hit hard. Compassion would have been including me in the decision before you scheduled appointments and started injections behind my back. Knew you'd react like this. That's why I waited. You get controlling about everything. I can't make any choice without you turning it into an argument. Controlling, I said slowly. Wanting to be involved in the decision about my wife getting pregnant with someone else's child is controlling. She shot to her feet, fists tight. You're being selfish. Nicole is family, my twin. You don't know what it's like watching her fall apart every time another pregnancy test comes back negative. She needs me, and I'm going to help her whether you approve or not, and I'm your husband. The father of your 3 actual kids. Doesn't that matter? Of course it does. But this has nothing to do with our relationship. I'm not having Brandon's baby in the way you're acting. I'm just helping them start their family. It's separate. I stood too, lowering my voice so the kids wouldn't hear. You want to live under our roof, on our insurance, pregnant with another man's baby. And you think that changes nothing. Stop being dramatic, she snapped. It's 9 months. Then I give the baby to Nicole and Brandon. Simple. People do this all the time. There is nothing simple about this. And the fact you can't see that and made the decision alone scares the hell out of me. What else will you decide on your own? Quit your job? Move states? What's next? She grabbed her phone like the conversation was over. Well, it's happening. The embryo transfer is set for next month, April 15th. I already signed the documents. Next month? I asked. How long has this been going on? About 6 weeks. Nicole and I talked with the clinic in February. Brandon had to, provide his sample. They've been prepping me with hormones to sync everything. Brandon had to do his part, I repeated, voice cold. So my wife and her sister's husband have been discussing creating a baby together, coordinating medical procedures, sharing details, and I'm hearing it now. You're twisting it into something dirty when it's not. It's medical, it's done in a lab, nothing like what you're implying. I don't care how clinical the process is. You made a massive decision that impacts our marriage, our kids, our finances, without me. That's betrayal, Rachel. She stepped toward the stairs. I'm checking on the kids. When you're ready to stop being hostile and actually support me, let me know. And she walked away, leaving me standing there, heart hammering, wondering how everything fell apart in 10 minutes. Upstairs, I heard her speaking to the kids in a perfectly cheerful voice, like nothing had just exploded. That night I barely slept. She snored quietly beside me, completely at peace after dropping a bomb on our marriage. Around 3 a.m., I gave up on sleep and went to sit in the dark living room, trying to make sense of it. My wife was planning to carry her brother-in-law's baby. She made the entire decision without me, signed documents, began treatments, and genuinely couldn't understand why I was upset. She acted like nothing about it was wrong. The next morning, sitting in my car before work, I called. Tyler, need to talk. You free for lunch? Yeah. What's going on? You sound awful. Rachel's going to be a surrogate for Nicole and Brandon. There was a long pause. Say that again. You heard me. She already started the medical stuff. Told me last night like she was mentioning what we're having for dinner. Dude, I don't even know how to respond to that. She decided everything on her own. Signed paperwork, went through screenings, scheduled the embryo transfer, all without saying a single word to me until it was basically a done deal. We met at a small sandwich shop near my office, place I go often enough that the staff knows my usual. I laid it all out while Tyler listened, his face getting more disturbed with every detail. So let me get this straight, he said, putting down his food. Your wife is about to carry Brandon's baby for 9 months in your house around your kids, and she didn't even include you in the conversation. Not include. She didn't involve me at all, I said. And when I objected, she basically said, "Too bad, it's already happening." She told me it's her body, her decision, and that I'm selfish for not supporting her sister. She even called me controlling because I wanted to be consulted. Tyler leaned back, shaking his head. Man, that's beyond screwed up. Surrogacy itself isn't the issue. But this is her acting like your opinion doesn't matter at all. Like you're just background scenery. That's exactly how it felt, I admitted. Like I'm just something in the way instead of her partner. What are you going to do? I'd been asking myself the same thing all night. I don't know. But I can't just roll over and accept it. She basically told me my voice doesn't matter in our marriage. You need to protect yourself legally, he said. If she's willing to make decisions this big without you, what else is she signing? What if she's agreeing to financial commitments you know nothing about? His words stuck with me. He had a point. If Rachel could cross one boundary this huge, who knew what else she'd ignore? The next few weeks were rough. Rachel started daily hormone injections to prep for the embryo transfer. She'd leave needles and medication vials out on the bathroom counter like they were multivitamins. Completely casual, I'd come home and find her watching surrogacy videos, reading online forums, or on the phone with Nicole discussing timelines and symptoms like it was already guaranteed. I tried talking to her again and again. Every conversation ended the same. Rachel, please think about what this is doing to us. What it's doing is revealing who you really are, she'd shoot back. My sister needs real help and I'm giving it. You're making it about your ego and your need to control every choice I make. This isn't about control. It's about you making major decisions without me. I'm done having this conversation. The transfer is next week. Either support me or don't, but I'm moving forward. Nicole is counting on me. I'm not backing out because you can't handle me being pregnant. It's not the pregnancy I can't handle. It's the betrayal. You're choosing your sister over your husband. She laughed under her breath. Be ridiculous. I'm helping family. If you can't see the difference, that's your issue. That's when I made my decision. I called a divorce attorney. Angela, the lawyer, came recommended by a coworker who went through a messy split recently. Her office was simple, clean, nothing flashy. She listened carefully while I explained everything. The surrogacy, the secrecy, Rachel's refusal to include me, the growing emotional distance. Does your wife work? Angela asked once I finished. She's a part-time dental hygienist. Maybe 25 grand a year. I pay about 70% of everything, mortgage, insurance, utilities, and she's been using marital funds for these treatments. I'm sure she is. Fertility treatments aren't cheap. Hormones, screenings, doctor visits, it's all expensive. I don't know exact amounts because she hasn't told me anything. But it's definitely thousands. Angela jot down notes. Has she signed anything that could legally tie you to this? Any agreements with the clinic or with her sister and brother-in-law? Not that I know of, I said. But honestly, at this point I wouldn't put anything past her. She had access to all our accounts and every password. For all I knew, she could have signed things in my name already. Angela warned me to check immediately. If Rachel forged anything or tied me financially to the surrogacy, it was fraud. And serious, do you really think this ends in divorce? I asked. Angela looked straight at me. Your wife made a life-changing decision without you, ignores your objections, and treats your opinion like it doesn't matter. After 20 years in family law, I can tell you that behavior doesn't improve. That night, while Rachel was at Nicole's for another planning session, I went through our files. In her desk drawer under old statements, I found the surrogacy contract. The clinic required both spouses to sign. At the back page was Rachel's signature, and next to it, a fake version of mine. Close enough to fool someone glancing at it, but definitely not written by me. She had forged my name. Actual fraud. I photographed every page and emailed them to Angela, then put the papers back exactly where they were. The next morning she called. This is clear fraud. Combined with her unilateral decisions and the money spent, you have a very strong case. Document everything, so I did. I kept a log of every conversation, every expense, every charge on the cards. I saved texts where she dismissed my concerns. I made a folder on my computer with all the evidence. The embryo transfer happened on April 15th. Rachel came home glowing, gathered the kids, and announced that Aunt Nicole's baby is going to grow in Mommy's tummy. Emma asked why. Rachel gave a simple explanation and the kids went back to playing. I just stood in the doorway feeling nothing. Whatever love I had left for her disappeared the moment I saw that forged signature. 2 weeks later, she took a test, positive. She held it up proudly, waiting for a reaction. It worked. "I'm pregnant," she said. "Good for you," I answered. She stared at me. "That's it. What do you expect me to say, Rachel? Congrats on getting pregnant with your brother-in-law's baby after signing my name on legal documents." Her face drained of color. "What are you talking about?" I showed her the photos on my phone, the contract, our signatures side by side. "This one isn't mine. You forged my name on a legal document. That's fraud, Rachel. Actual criminal fraud." "Noah, I can explain. Don't bother. I already talked to my lawyer. I'm filing for divorce." She grabbed my arm. "You can't be serious. Over this, over you lying, making huge decisions alone and forging my signature?" "Yes, I'm serious, but I'm pregnant." "What kind of man leaves his pregnant wife? It's not my baby, Rachel. You made that choice without me." She started crying, but I felt nothing. "Please, Noah, we can fix this." "No, you don't fix betrayal after the fact. You just don't do it in the first place, so that's it. 6 years, our kids, gone because I helped my sister. No, because you proved my consent doesn't matter." I stepped away. "Move to the guest room. I'm filing tomorrow." The next months were brutal. She stayed in the guest room and we barely spoke. I filed on Monday, sent Angela all the evidence, contract photos, financial records, messages where she dismissed me. I separated our finances, froze accounts, opened new ones, changed every password. Angela warned me. "She's going to play the victim. Document everything." And she did. Told her family I abandoned her while pregnant, leaving out the part where she got pregnant with someone else's baby and forged my signature. Nicole called, furious. "She's carrying my baby out of love and you're divorcing her. She destroyed our marriage to do it." I said. "That's on her, you're heartless." "Ask her about the forged signature." Brandon showed up later, trying to guilt-trip me. "She's stressed. It's bad for the baby, not my problem," I said. "She made her choice." He tried blaming me. "She only forged it because you'd be unreasonable, so fraud is fine as long as you think someone might say no. That's your defense." He opened his mouth to argue, then shut it again, realizing how ridiculous he sounded. "Just talk to her. She's falling apart. That's not my problem anymore," I said. "You and Nicole wanted this baby. Congrats, got it." He left without another word. As the pregnancy moved on, reality hit everyone. Rachel was broke. Income had covered most of her lifestyle, and she couldn't live off a dental hygienist's salary. She'd assumed I'd eventually cave and keep supporting her. Wrong. Nicole and Brandon were struggling too. Years of IVF had drained their savings, maxed out credit cards, and left them barely surviving. They couldn't support Rachel financially. During the pregnancy, Rachel started texting me constantly from different numbers. "Can you help with the medical bills? The kids need clothes. I can't buy groceries. Vitamins are expensive." I replied once, "You made your choices. Deal with the consequences." Then I blocked every number and switched everything to a co-parenting app for kid-related communication only. Tyler came over while I was packing the last of Rachel's leftover things. "How you holding up?" "Better than expected. House is peaceful. Kids are adjusting." He shook his head. "Nicole and Brandon can't afford anything either. All the medical stuff is hitting them hard." Rachel gambled on them and on me. Lost both. Rachel kept sending ultrasound photos through the app. I deleted them unread. She tried using Emma to guilt me. "Daddy, why won't you come home? Mommy cries a lot." I told her gently. "Mom made choices I couldn't support." "But I love you always." 6 months in, Rachel was clearly struggling. At a custody exchange, she and Nicole pulled up looking exhausted and desperate. "Noah," Rachel said, "please, 5 minutes. I'm 7 months pregnant and falling apart. I need help. You can message me about the kids." "Nothing else." Nicole stepped in. "She's carrying my baby. The least you could do is show compassion. Pregnancy is hard." I almost laughed. "I did exactly what you two wanted, stayed out of it. Now you're shocked there are consequences." Rachel started crying. "I never wanted you gone. I just wanted to help my sister. I thought we'd get through this by lying, forging my signature, and getting pregnant without my consent." "That's your version of together." Nicole's face flushed. "You're being cruel. She's terrified. She deserves this," I said quietly. "Every bit of it." She made her choices, adult choices with adult consequences. I warned her this would destroy our marriage, and she did it anyway. Now she's living with the fallout. I loaded the kids' bags, buckled them in, and drove off while Rachel cried and Nicole glared like I was the villain. The divorce moved quickly. Angela laid out everything. The forged signature, the unilateral spending, the ignored warnings. Rachel's lawyer tried the sympathy angle, poor pregnant woman abandoned by her cruel husband. But Judge Morrison didn't buy it. "Mrs. Harper," the judge said, Did you make this decision without consulting your husband? Yes, and did you forge his signature on a binding contract? Her lawyer tried to spin it as emotional distress. The judge shut that down immediately. Emotional distress does not justify fraud. The ruling was decisive. Divorce granted, I got primary physical custody. Rachel got supervised visitation until she could show stable housing and income, and she was ordered to repay the $8,000 she spent on surrogacy. The judge made it clear I had zero responsibility for the surrogate baby. I was free. Rachel gave birth 3 weeks later. She sent a photo, beautiful baby girl. Nicole and Brandon are so happy. I marked it as read and archived it. Then the consequences started hitting everyone else. Nicole and Brandon were broke. No savings left after IVF, surrogacy fees, and pregnancy costs. Nicole's postpartum complications kept her from working. Brandon's hours got cut. They asked Rachel for babysitting and money, but she was drowning herself. Their perfect plan collapsed fast. The twins started fighting. Nicole accused Rachel of abandoning them. Rachel snapped back that she wasn't their free nanny. Their relationship shattered. Meanwhile, Rachel was still in debt, still living at her mom's, still barely scraping by on a dental hygienist paycheck. She destroyed her marriage, wrecked her finances, and lost her sister. All for a selfless act that left everyone miserable 6 months after the baby was born. She sent me a long, emotional message through the co-parenting app. Noah, I need help, she sent a long message. She couldn't handle the debt. Her relationship with Nicole had collapsed. The kids kept asking about me, and she wanted to talk about reconciliation. She admitted she'd messed up and begged for another chance. I replied once, keeping it simple, you made your choice. I made mine, we're done. Focus on being a good mom during your visitation. Don't contact me about anything except custody. That was the final word.